is a horrible teacher. And everyone was failing the class, and then they decided to curve the grades. So I am actually in the middle of that curve. What are you worried about, Mom? I know people who made single digits. So that's externalizing. Externalizing, that means saying it's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault. Trying to cut off from the family and talking more to peers, of course. Yeah, you want me to go there to this uncle and auntie's house? They don't even care if I'm there. You want me to go there? Please, my friends have been asking me to play online with this Call of Duty or whatever. I need to go because they're waiting on me. And we have to go play because we've reached a very high level, Ma. Let's go. Overreaction to any confrontation by... You saw Lakshmi. That was an overreaction. She was having a storm in a teacup, right? So these are the frustrations we have. These are the signs of frustrations that I could put together. So we'll come to this. Okay. So one of the biggest things that I have learned is that we parent. Way back, they used to have a system called parenting with love and logic. Okay. And then it changed to parenting with love and limits. I like the term limits. Limits is important because why? Why are limits important? Why is it important to set limits? Can anyone speak to that? Clarence, I'm sure you can.
I don't set any limits.
Parenting with limits.
Over-pampering will spoil them.
Yes, who said that? Let's give her a round of applause. So, would you still like to speak to it, Clarence?
So, I want to take an opposing view to this. So, we all know that it takes a whole village to raise a child.
Yes.
And one of the things about being an immigrant community is that you see how nuclear the family is. So, one of the things that I have done very consciously is kind of wear the hat of a grandparent as I remember it growing up. I knew that grandparents were the buffer between trouble and my parents and me, and they were very effective buffers. My daughter doesn't have a buffer. It's like, and if she's and my daughter being the only child, it's, it's like she between me and mom, right? So it all depends on where we are. So that triage was very difficult, which is when do I nurture her while setting limits? And that was very difficult. So I'm thinking, if you look at school shootings, most of the kids come from families where they have never experienced affection. So how can we be going in the other direction where we are wondering, maybe we are being very affectionate, so that spoils the child. So I don't know where that is.
Yeah, and that you raised a very, let's give him a round of applause. Clarence, you raised a very pertinent question. In my opinion, when it comes to effective parenting, I really think it's all about balance. It's all about balance. So you parent with love and limits. The most important thing that limits can do is for you to be predictable in a positive way for the child. So the child knows that there are certain things that you can and cannot do, in your place as part of the family, for them to be part of the family, the role they play, and how it's important for them to realize disrespect, for instance. You just don't go to somebody and cuss them out just because you're having a bad day, or that you are not in a good mood, right? So you set limits. With the children, with young children, 4 and 5, it's very important that they experience structure. Their day has to be structured. In today's world, with so much going on, it is a fact that our children are experiencing much more. It is hard for them to a certain extent. Life is moving, their lives move so fast. And the hard part, as I see it, is that asking for help is old-fashioned. Figure it out. Okay? Asking for help is old-fashioned, so go figure it out. So you are not going to see a child who's going to say, excuse me, but I'm not sure that I know this very well, can you help me? That is like, it's old. You're not going to do that. Somewhere over there in that cyberspace, you're going to find an answer to everything you need.
Ask Alexa.
Yes. Yes. Why for help.
What did she say?
Are you so dumb? No, there are children who will say that, who will tell you that. In my experience in another field, I always say, please ask me if you need help, because that helps me know that you're interested in getting better. It helps me. You have to reframe that, because in today's world, they have to figure it out, and that is the hardest thing for them. So we're coming back to parenting. It's very important for us to maintain a balance. We set limits, and from day one, remember, parents will tell you, especially parents of newborns, they will tell you, they are days old, and you ask them, first thing I ask them is, how do you put your child to sleep? Oh, we just rock the baby and rock the baby. And then when I get tired, I just hand the baby over to the next person, and they rock the baby and rock the baby. And do you know, you are getting this child into the habit of being carried around. So sure enough, you put the child down for a second, you're going to get that screaming. Why? Because the child is used to being carried around. So from day one, it's very important that you set those limits. Find a place where the baby can sleep, and try not to hold them and rock them. Some of it is good, but not all the time. You have to learn to balance. So from then onwards, you come to the 5-6-year-old. They have to ask a lot of questions. Okay, so Dad, why can we go to McDonald's today? Because I have some work to do. But can you not take a 5-minute break, Dad? Because I really feel like having some fries. Daddy, Mommy took Akka the other day. She took her there and got her some ice cream, and I really want to have something, and she told me that I won't get it, but please can you take me? No, we can't go today. Why? Because it's raining. So what? We can take our umbrellas and get in the car and go. No, we can go. But why, Dad? You've got to set those limits, because they go, and they go. And so it's very important that from day one, in whatever way you can, you set those limits. For children who are school-going, pre-kindergarten, even earlier, if you have a set schedule that you follow, it works. For those who are in homes where you have both mom and dad, it's very important that they communicate with each other, sometimes without the child there, and decide what the schedule is going to be. Because you know what? Our lovely, beautiful children are going to go find the loopholes. Yes? Amma, Appa said that I can go, but please, Amma, I love you. Please, please, can I go? I told him that, you're not as mean as him. Please, yeah. And then she goes, okay. And here comes Appa living. Oh, guess what? Thank you very much. I just said no and you said yes. And in front of the kids, they're having a nice big argument, and the kid is going, yes. So that's my loophole. That totally is my loophole. I found one. They will find a million. So if the parents who are involved in this partnership do not talk with each other and decide what the structure is for the child, we have a problem. If you model some behaviors like, you know what, when we are at the table and we are eating, we're going to turn that stuff off. The TV is going to be off, and we're going to sit together and eat the meat. Then model it. It shouldn't be that your phone is on silent and you hear that little thing going all over the place on the table and going, my mother was supposed to call me Amma, my Amma. I need to check and see. Oh, is it her? No, it's not her. We talked about no phones. Look at you, Ma. You just checked your phone. So I'm going to check mine too, because I need to check. And then Daddy picks up his phone and sees if he has any calls from work, any deadlines to be met, and then it goes on and on. So it's very important that if you want them to do certain things, you model that too. It is not uncommon in this day and age that you will see a family sitting in the living room, because they're required to do that. So everybody comes down and sits there, not a pipsqueak, not a word between each other. Everything is going through the phone. Raj is smiling.
It just happened in our house today. Dining table, Raj is opposite to my dining table. He's texting my daughter at the family group chat, and then my daughter texted back, and I am sitting just opposite, and I texted him back like, "Could you please shut up and just..." Two idiots talking over the phone, and I'm just in front of you. So she said, "We share the same DNA, Mom."
Yes.
Sharon used phone in dinner time Saturdays.
Yeah.
That's just very common.
Yeah. They did a study of all the, of several kids who went, this was many years ago, several kids who made it to the Ivy League schools. And one thing that they had in common was that all of them had at least 3 or 4 meals a week together as a family. Everything shut up. Okay, so how does that connect with Ivy League? It's not like you tell them, we have 4 meals a day and we do not even use social media. No, it's not that. It's because there is something else that goes on there. They learn from each other. The biggest thing, the biggest tribute that we can pay to our kids, young or old, is listen. Listen. Miss Lydia, you mentioned about how we take that cookie cutter approach and then we are frustrated when it doesn't work. Okay? Now, it's really important for us to realize that there is even the 6 and 7-year-olds, it's very important to listen to what they have to say. It's not so much what they are telling you, but how they tell you. Hidden in there are lots of frustrations about school, about being bullied, about perceived, power of somebody over them. I'm no good. One of the biggest things that children experience when they're feeling really, really low and depressed is a sense of worthlessness. I don't matter. I remember working with this one child for about 5 years, and he went from, his parents abandoned him, and from the age of 5, he went through some 16 foster homes. He would come into my office every week and he would take my Lego pieces and he would actually make something. And he would park it in one end of the room and he would tell me, "Do not move this." So I would put it on my table after he left, and then I would set it back right where he had left it when it was time for him to come back. And every time he had to move, he would actually break it. He would break this thing, and then he would start building again. His world was torn apart. So it's very important that we understand that children, all ages, it's important that we listen to them. Very much so. Because when you listen to your child, and the other thing I wanted to say is in a lot of our families, there is always this, when you talked about the cookie cutter again, I keep coming back to that. I hope it's okay for me to say that, but I think we all understand what we're talking about. Okay, Lakshmi, if you continue this, when Appa comes, I'm going to tell him. And then he can handle it. And you know how Appa is about these things, okay? So those car keys, I'm going to get those car keys. He's going to take the car keys. You can forget about your car and driving around town, la-di-da. That's not going to happen. So when you vicariously or directly or indirectly afford another parent the power, that actually becomes a loophole. Because the kid is then saying, wait, so you really don't have the power with Appa, but he has the higher power. So Appa decides. But guess what? Neither one of them are listening to the child. Neither one of them are listening to the child. So what happens is that with this kid, she says, my mother doesn't really listen to me and sit and talk to me. Well, she wants to, but she's irritating because then she's going to talk about how I didn't do laundry, blah, blah, blah. And then there's Dad who has no clue, but he has all the power. And if Dad says stand, we stand. Even Amma stands. If Dad says sit, we sit. That is not a sign of health for a family. That is not balance. That's imbalance. So understand that way before you provide your children structure, it's very important that if it's a two-parent family, you talk with each other and decide what's best. The moment the child tries to play one against the other, if you both are not talking, the child's going to, find that out very easily and use that loophole again. You're not going to get anywhere. It's very, very important. So please, thank you. Parenting with love and limits. Do not hesitate to say no. There are some things where you actually have to say no and say, this is not going to work out. Sorry. Why? For the time being, it's just a no. We can talk about it later. By time. Depends on the child and how old the child is. If it's a young child, you've got to simply say no. And it's quite all right. You're not the bad one, but you have to consistently say. You have to consistently say no to that particular issue. That's very important. Teach and encourage the child to verbalize his or her feelings. Yes. For a younger child, one of the biggest things that I say is when a child is struggling to talk about something, try to use texture play. So Play-Doh. You take Play-Doh, you sit across them, one-on-one. So you don't bring all brother, sister, everyone, cousin, and sit there. No. One-on-one with this child. Spend about 15 to 20 minutes. Sit and make something with that particular Play-Doh sitting opposite them. And that's texture. So just like sand play, you know how we all go to the beach and we come back really relaxed? Because texture is good for us too. So also with Play-Doh, you sit opposite the child and you knead the Play-Doh and you make something, they make something. Rest assured, the fourth or fifth time that you start to do this, the child will talk to you. Because you're feeling safe. Just because you're the parents doesn't mean that the child is going to spill their guts out to you. That's very important for us to realize. Comments? Anyone wants to say anything?
I agree on that approach. That gives more result when spend time with the kids with their interest, not in our interest.
Right. It really is. Yeah. Thank you.
Here, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask that if you could suggest some, I guess everyone, including we as parents and they as kids are trying, but communicating in a way that it makes it interesting and like you said, not boring. What are some of the ideas or things we could do? Because yes, eventually they get bored, but they're not bored when they're talking to their friends. You see a whole different side of them.
Right.
So,
It's like when you put money in the stock market, it doesn't immediately start to do good. It takes a while. So what you do is, a very good question though, thank you for that. It's very important that you start investing. And so don't expect results right away. But if you stay consistent with that, you will get there. It's not like tomorrow, excuse me everybody, we're going to communicate. What? Communicate. I've always been communicating. I have good friends. I have no problems communicating. No. It is that you actually show the child that you care. It's not naam ke vaste, okay, all right, today 20 minutes, we're going to sit and communicate. No. You actually catch, one of the biggest things with a child like that is you catch them doing right. And when they, when you ask them about school, ask me. Say, Radhika, how was school today? Ask me.
Radhika, how was your school today?
That's typical. What did you do? I don't know. Ask me, what did you do?
What did you do today?
Nothing.
You were in school for 8 hours and you did nothing?
Well, yeah, something, but what do you want to know?
What did you do? Who did you talk with? How was your day?
Mom, why would I go to school? To party or to study? You know I'm going to school to study. Really, I don't understand your questions.
Then I'll stop talking.
Okay, thank you. That's it. So what you do is you actually catch them doing right. Be sincere. As the child grows older, they realize when you're trying to patronize them. No, our children are very, very smart. So it's very important that whatever you do it from the heart. You're honest when they ask you certain questions based on their ages, and that because you are the parent and you know your child very well. It's very important that you answer their questions to the best that you can. If you cannot be brutally honest with them, you can always say, there's more to it, but then it's hard for me to explain this to you. But your question is important. Let me think about it. When in doubt, buy time. Okay? When you want to communicate with your child, way before that, what you do is you find out. You find out what it is that they like to do. You know what it is that they like to do. Ask them. When you pick them up from school, and even if you go to get an ice cream or something, say, hey, tell me about your friends. Do you guys have fun? When all of you get together, what do you do together? What's fun for you guys? Do you listen to music? What do you do? So don't ask about who is your friend. Say, what do you guys do together? Okay? You show an interest. It's important. So you never ask leading questions where they can just say yes and no, and then just finish with that. And so then you're not going to get anywhere. Say, I have set 30 minutes to talk to you and our conversation ended in 5. What else do you want to talk about? So that's why it's very important not to ask leading questions that end in yes or no, or or an answer here or an answer there. Open it up. These are the sorts of process questions that you ask. It's very important, and slowly the child will feel comfortable, I guarantee you, coming to you and talking to you about things that bother them. Do not jump and give advice. Seema, okay, I'll give you an example. So Mom, can I talk to you about something? So today, there was this kid and he was just so upset and he just yelled and screamed in the class. What did you do? Well, I was did you also scream? No, I didn't. So then, why was he screaming? He should not be screaming. Whatever, Mom. But the moment you say, oh my, he must have been struggling with something, your kid is going to go, oh, maybe Mom understands. Maybe Dad understands. You've got to open it up for conversations. Conversation openers are where you say, well, tell me more about this. Okay, what was it like for you? Those are the sorts of things you do. You cannot make the child talk to you. Impossible. Right? Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes. I have something to
Yes,
add.
please. Yes.
So the thing is that, I agree with what you said. So I used to ask these high-level questions. Earlier, like when I drive from work to home, I used to ask him, how was your day? So then he's like, I don't know. And then it's a very common answer these days. So then I thought maybe I shouldn't ask something vague because once he asked me the same question back. So he asked me, how was your day at work? I said, good. So it's so common. Then I realized that I answer the same way. So it's no wonder he's answering back the same way. So then I realized I should ask something like extremely granular level. So I asked him, did you find a friend? We just moved from Arizona to Charlotte. So I asked him, did you find a friend? Then he said, no, I'm sitting in a buddy bench and then I'm waiting for a friend here. And then Miss so-and-so said, if you be nice and kind, people are going to come to you. And he's nice and kind. So he's like, I'm still waiting for it. I did this. So it was a lot of information.
Isn't that something?
Yes. And
so those are the open-ended questions.
Right.
Yes. You've got to simplify it and open it up to where the child can talk and not feel like Mom's sitting there waiting to pounce on me. If I don't give her the right answer, she's going to go, what?
Right.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
So,
Yes.
when kids go through bullying situation, how do they approach parents with their vulnerabilities? And then how should the parent approach them?
When kids go through, the best thing is if you've built up a relationship with your child, then you're able to have a conversation where you can say, it seems like you're preoccupied with something, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And you can have a general conversation with them about how one can have friends that are understanding and friends that are not understanding. And they may open up. If you have reason to assume that your child is being bullied, then that's the way you open it up. Sometimes, depending on if it's a young child, you can even tell a story. You know, we do a lot of therapeutic stories and say, we always make it very general and say, there's this kid that I know of, and it seems like the parents were worried about him because there was some other kid who was making fun of him. And have you ever seen that happen at school? So not to him, but to the others. Have you ever seen that happen at school? He will open up and talk to you. So you have to be very careful, because if you don't leave that door open, then he will shut it real quick. Yes?
Just to add on to the bullying.
Good question, by the way. Yes?
Just to add on to his question, bullying. So,
Sorry to interrupt. We do have a question and answer session. So let her finish her slide, and then we have a
Yes.
lot of questions.
Okay, hold them
Lined up.
I'll come back to you. Okay, then we have, you do not ridicule the child or his integrity or her integrity. So one of the worst things we can do is to say, oh yeah, your friends, terrible, and that girl there, I can stand her. She's not allowed into the house. Right there, you kind of semi-killed it. It's very important to find out what makes them your child's friend. Understand, listen, ask questions. Ridiculing your child's or children's friends are the worst thing you can do. So it's very important not to tread on that. You may assume, okay, there's a kid. One of my friends was telling me, she said, this kid comes in, he's got his pants hanging right close to his knees, his undergarments are showing, and she says, he comes in real ghetto style, and then sitting and talking with her, and she seems to be in a good mood when he's there. And they so the parent is worried. She realizes, as we are talking, she says, I think I'm stereotyping this kid. Maybe he's a nice kid. So I need to give my child a chance to explore this and then talk to her about her friends and who does she look for as far as friends go. What's important to her? Those are the open-ended questions that you ask. You don't say, oh, why is this person your friend? And then you bring them home. They don't even know how to dress. And I don't like this. This is insulting. Keep them outside the house. It's different from saying, your friend had mud on their shoes and they came into the house with all mud, and that is not okay. So never pass judgment on your child's friends. You could say something about their actions or their appearance, but not them. Because then your child is going to think that you're extremely judgmental. They cannot bring their friends home. You're nodding, Bobby.
I agree. I used to have the rules like no shoes inside. I have a board outside my house. So when the American kids come, and they do come with the shoes and everything, so I called my son one day and I said, we have a rule that we don't use shoes. Do you want me to explain to your kid, friends, or do you want to let them know that they can leave the shoes and wear socks, or I can give them a new socks to wear? That's our rule because we don't want a dirty floor. So, and apparently initially they did not listen because they come to 11:30 after I sleep. So I don't know they were using the shoes, but when I catch them, then they were like, guys, don't use the shoes inside, and they'll, accept that. So that's
exactly, yeah. I used to go with my son. This used to be one thing. We do not eat anywhere except in the kitchen or the dining area. So no food is allowed to be taken up. So when my son used to have like about 10 kids over, you would hear them slowly tiptoeing. Right from the basement they would come up and they would open the fridge, help themselves to whatever, and then leave it there. And my son Andy would say, guys, remember that food cannot go downstairs. Okay, fine then, we'll do that. And I could hear this in the dead of the night. But they were willing to follow those rules, so that was fun. That's just for everybody in the house. So do not compare your children to other children. We're all guilty of that. It doesn't make things easier, it makes things worse. It breaks their heart. Why? Because when you compare them to other kids, you're thinking that is their yardstick. The biggest thing you can do for your child is to compare them to their own standard. Own standard. Today I was working on a composition with one of my little girls, and she's about 8 years of age, and I told her, I said, I really miss, I told her the name, her name, and I said, I really missed her, will you please bring her back next week? She's fabulous. I told her that she is a fabulous dancer, but I want her to bring that girl, that fabulous dancer back next week. And she was like, okay, I can do that. Then be very specific in your praise of them and be honest. We were talking about this earlier. We can find out when you're not being sincere and you just kind of give them this, flaky, oh, good job, no. Whenever you catch your child being kind to somebody, it can be anyone, or doing something nice, say, I really appreciated the way you did this. So that let them know that you see the good stuff too. And it's not that you pounce on just the bad stuff. We'll go to the next slide. I'll go fast here. So a positive approach. It's very important that as young as they are, it's important to have a basic daily structure and schedule with each of your children. That's, the chores, the study time, where they sit and do homework, expectations. It's very important to get clear. When you go into a room of total strangers and you don't know what is expected of you, you do feel very nervous sometimes, you're anxious. But if you go into your own home, where your parents know what is expected, then you're better off. You feel less anxious. So the parents have to be predictable in a positive way, so the child knows what they expect. It's very important, and that you be consistent. So it's not like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're not letting you watch TV. Thursday, I'm tired, so I might just let you watch TV. And then this WhatsApp message just came along, and I got to watch a whole bunch of videos. So forget Friday, do whatever you want. Okay. That's not going to work. So be predictable in a positive way. Establish clear boundaries with each of your children. Understand that they're all different. Certain things, the golden rules won't change. So if there is a rule about not jumping on the furniture, none of your kids is going to jump on the furniture. If there's a rule about not wearing shoes in the house, nobody's going to wear it, including you. So keep it the same for everybody, all your children. Be approachable and give them your undivided attention when they need you. Even a small little thing, hey mom, I don't feel so good today. Don't ridicule that. Unless, of course, the child has an assignment and you know about it. That's a whole different situation. But if you really know that they're struggling with something, ask them how you can help. Say, how can I help? A long way to open up conversation. Okay, coming back. Follow through with the privileges. Yes, so 2 weeks and you do your stuff. And I will make sure that we go to the dollar store and pick out something for you. Make sure that when they achieve that, you go. You don't say, oh, you know what, today it's raining. Let's do it next after 3-4 days. That is not okay. You have to follow through with your privileges. Never ever compare them to anyone else. We already talked about this. Use humor when appropriate. And say, sometimes, this is what we used to do. I'll give you an example. I used to pick up my son from school. I used to come home early from work. I used to pick him up from school and bring him back home. So I would ask him this question. So how was school today? Good. So, anything happened? Nothing really, just the usual day. So then, this is so bad. I would drive into some other neighborhood. He says, where are we going? I said, oh, you know what? I just wanted to hear more about your school and your day. So this is like a conversation facilitator. I was being fun. So say something, just make up something and tell me, And he'd look at me and then we'd just burst out laughing. But that was a memory for us. Pack humor into something when you know that your child is struggling with something, not that serious, or you feel like there is tension between you and your child. Lighten it up, because eventually you guys will talk. When the child knows that you can laugh about certain things, it helps them a lot. Really does, yes. Thank you. Find your own support in your significant other or maybe a close friend. Okay. So for single parents, yes, it's very important that they have the support. If you are a two-parent family, it's very important that the two of you have great communication. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to be those two fantastic role models for your children and help them. So it's very important that today it's the norm, both parents work. So therefore, you have to find a way to balance all of that with time for your child and be there when they need you. And they will send some, if I'm not mistaken, they will send some signs out to you to let you know that they need you. Yes? Do not live your unfulfilled dreams through your children. Get a life. It's very important that you do that. Absolutely important. So don't say, I wanted to be a musician all my life. And today my dream has come true. My daughter is going to learn music. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so hard. Okay, and so then I look at the child, even dance. You sure you want to learn dance? Or you run while you can, because you're still not in here. Are you sure? Why do you want to learn dance? I like it. I said, okay, well then just try it one time. See if you like it. If you don't, run fast. You don't have to do this. It's very important that a lot of parents do that. They want their child to be the best, and they want them to excel. And if you ask them, they will tell you, I never got this opportunity and my child is doing very well. I'm very proud of them. And this is great. This is fantastic because I feel so happy. But then what does mom and dad do? They look up Power School in their spare time. That's what they do. It doesn't work. You must get your life and let them know that there are some things that mom and dad do to be able to take care of themselves, whatever that might be. Various ways of doing it, but it's important. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you so much, JJ. So the lasting gains. It's very important. The communication part we know between parents and children is very important. Why? Because it helps build trust. When the child is able to, believe it or not, when the child is able to communicate with both parents, it actually increases their sense of confidence. And it makes them feel really good. Increased sense of hopefulness and optimism. Well, nothing like a child who is hopeful and optimistic. Most of the time. We all go through things. All of us do. But when they see the door half opened and half closed, that's good, because you know that this child is going to grow up to be an adult who's going to carry that optimism into their life, their work, their relationships. And that's a great feeling to have. It's a legacy that they take with them. Model it for them. If something doesn't work out, say, hopefully, if we do our best, we can make this better. And you can. I know in my heart that you will make it better somehow, somewhere. And that's a good way to go. Learn to relate to others, including family and friends. So if you want your children to be a part of your friend circle, try to put yourself in their shoes and try to understand that not always is it something very satisfying to them. So sit down with them and say, there's this one, I will do this way, there's this one thing that I really would like for you to go to. We can even go in 2 cars. You can come drop it and then just go. That's fine. If it's okay with you. If you still would prefer not to come, that's fine. When you insist that they do something, especially an older child, then they don't want to do it. For the younger one, you have to use another tactful approach and say, we're all going, And sometimes it's nice to go as a family, and it would mean a lot to me. I don't intend. Do not parent with guilt. Do not put the guilt on your child. I didn't include that, but it's very important that you not say, oh, you know, I never got to do this with my family, so for me this is so important. I see those people with their families and if we're not doing this, it's so terrible. So this one time, let's all go out together. So mom's going to come out with her little fiddle and she's going to play it till we all agree to go. And then everybody just, rolls out into the car. Nobody's looking happy. Fine, we'll do it. Willingness to reach out to others and altruism, Noah. Okay, so sometimes we tend to be very interested in what's going on in the neighbor's house. Okay? We want to know what's happening out there. Okay? On the pretext of being really concerned, we want to help them. We want to do whatever we can. At the expense of what? Individual time with your child. So it's very important that you take stock periodically and see what's going on that you can do to keep those lines of communication open. Sometimes they get clogged and you've got to clear it out. And you've got to find ways to do that. You have a person there, your significant other, who you can talk to be able to find ways of doing this. And you definitely will. You've got to hold on to that open optimism because, as I said, there are no rules in the game. You've got to go with what works best, but it's very important to understand your child. And this happens with small gains, small wins. Carl White, the great psychologist, talked about small wins. It's like drops of water make the ocean. Small wins make the big ones. So don't wait for the big things to happen. Appreciate the little things. Show your gratefulness for everything. If you go to a party, for instance, you come home and say, you know that woman? She couldn't stop talking about a child because he was on the honor roll, and then he's applying to these big schools, and then she's just talking about this, and then I'm sitting there going, what in the world? Okay, and this other one, she can shut up. She just has to talk and talk. And this other one, every time I see her, she's wearing this new Kanjivaram sari and jewelry, and so then the kid is going to probably go to mom and say, Mom, why exactly did you go to this party? You're coming back with all this negative stuff. Is it helping you or hurting you? So whatever you do, however you say, how you treat your friends, the way you look at the world, your child is watching and learning from you. So it's very important that you, as they grow older, you realize that you cannot live life for them, you cannot fight their battles for them. You have to let them make choices, be open to advice, and it's very important that you realize that as your child grows older, even when they're young, but more so as they grow older, they are developing into their personalities, and really you are not the expert on your child just because you gave birth to them. You've got to learn to continue to understand them. And therein lies an inherent value in being that parent then. Never be your child's best friend. You are the parent and you will always be the parent. Thank you.